그러고 보면 난 너를 만나 참 많이 변했어. 꿈이 생기고 네가 가진 꿈도 이뤄주고 싶었어. 네, 그러려면 네가 보여진 자리야. 아직 몰라 그렇게 몰라. 너를 아직 사랑 나밖에 없는데 제발 나를 떠나야 해.
Hello! Usually by the end of the year, I tend to make a voiceover video for everyone as a New Year gift. And for this year, I decided to make one about a question I've been asked for a long time. How I became a taekooker. Before bringing up taekook, I need to tell you about how I became an army, because it's important. It was October 2017, only a couple of weeks after DNA was released, and I was at work. My students hadn't shown up for a while, and I decided to look into something new. And I've heard of BTS before as a name, but I didn't even know what it was. For all I knew, it could be just a Korean drama or even a cooking show. But I just really needed to get into something new, and as someone who loves new things, I decided to search BTS, and DNA was the first thing I saw. The moment Taeyoung came on the screen, I was very impressed. His voice was so deep, it was so soothing. He looked both goofy and serious. His visuals were just like a real anime character. And as an anime fan, I was hyped. I remember searching BTS gray hair member on YouTube over and over just to even know who he was. And then I got to see the other members and I got to see the other contents. And I realized about some of their mottos, about their Love Yourself, Love Myself campaign, about the anti-bullying campaigns they had. And I was hooked. And I remember seeing other members like Jimin and Jungkook, their faces, their pages, reading their comments, and thinking, they seem popular, so they must be the ones people ship the most. I had no idea how popular Taeyoung actually was, and how popular Taekook as a ship was. I was surprised. Although I wasn't really into K-pop, I knew about the shipping culture in Asia in general. Actually, in every industry it exists, and I was also familiar with it from the videos I've seen from the other boy groups like One Direction. But I always had a rule for myself, which was don't ship real people. And to this day, Taekook are actually the only non-fictional and real people that I ship. And to note, when I say ship, I'm talking about a relationship. That's where the word even comes from. You can't ship anything if you don't really see a relationship in it. So back then, I was serious about only looking through older contents as a fan, and I didn't even want to get involved with any of the ships. But then I continued watching some of their contents, and I felt a bit off about Taekook. It was because based on what they were showing, it seemed like Taekook were not even friends, or they didn't even know each other despite being in the same team. So I really wondered why people even shipped them. I checked a couple of videos and nothing really stuck out for me. But then I saw this one video where the creator showed an ad. Every single unit, every single pair was shown in this ad, except for Taeyoung and Jungkook. That was when I was like, well, if it's a fan service, we're supposed to be served, right? And as a shipping culture, as a fan service culture, this doesn't really make any sense. They shouldn't be cutting them, they should be feeding the fans. So I actually took it more seriously. I started watching every BTS related video in order, and as I was enjoying the contents as an army, I couldn't help noticing how Taeyong and Jungkook were together as well. It was around the time I helped my mother write a book about body languages, and the part that I helped her with was about romantic attraction. And as someone who also self-taught myself how to do 3D animations, I was always very hyper aware of how human body language works. So it was never really anything I did consciously. I just always noticed that something was off, and a lot of the things that we're doing or saying were just very, very couple coded. And I noticed that some of the things that they were showing us were not exactly how they were putting them. And as a normal fan, I didn't really have any ways of asking. And the other takeook videos that I was watching didn't really seem to match my views. Commenting would not be enough, and I didn't really want to come off as rude being in another person's channel and trying to dictate how they should think. So I thought, well, maybe making my own channel would not really be a bad idea. I thought long and hard about it. I am also a part of the LGBTQ plus community, and I'm a very big supporter. So I know the struggle of people in the community, and what really got me into making my channel was the hate I kept seeing Taekook get, even as a baby army. I remember specifically how many times I saw the phrase Taekook is dead, to the point that it stuck with me, which is actually why the name of my channel is Taekook-lives, because I thought as long as their bond was alive, my channel would remain alive as well, and as long as my channel was alive, people wouldn't call them dead anymore. And it's not like it would actually have any romantic sense in it or even any platonic sense in it, because Taekook was the name Taekook came up with themselves. It seemed like people were so against it, and most of the reasons was actually the homophobia they were feeling every time they saw Taeyong and Jungkook. I was familiar with the concept of analyses and theories for a very long time. I've done it for other fandoms as well. The whole concept of theories and analyses was actually something I brought up in the fandom. I mean, videos for Taekook as proofs always existed, and that has nothing to do with me, because the shipping culture existed in the fandom for a very long time. But my idea was not, hey, I know this is true and this is why I think it's true, so this is the proof for it. My idea was, hey, this is just a possibility that I thought of, but I can very much be wrong. So you do your researches too. I'm just giving you something to think about. It seemed like a perfect idea at the time because it wouldn't actually out anyone. I mean, who cares what a random fan like me thinks? And it's not like I would know anyway. No one can know, not even some of the people who work around them. But it would maybe help other people also see the possibility if Taekook would ever need a real support. An army of people would actually be already there to support them. I especially thought that it was needed because at a time outlets like Dispatch were the ones you had to be terrified of. We all know about the rumored gay couple they wanted to out and how strange their relationship with Taekook was. So at the time, no one really thought of Dispatch as this good outlet. A lot of people didn't even know about them, which was even a bigger danger. Somehow these days people think Dispatch is this really good outlet that is actually on our back, but technically they're still the same people. They just happen to support Taeyong and Jungkook in a different way, which is why we're a little bit in good terms with them. But back then I was terrified of them, and that was the only feeling I could have about them, because we knew the possibility of them being able to out Taekook if they were real. It would also help people get over their homophobia, and it worked because they could see how pure the moments Taekook shared together were, no matter what was between them, how normal those moments were compared to other couples and other people in general, and how even if something was going on between them, it wouldn't change any of those moments, and how pure and innocent those moments were. Every time I would get a comment of people saying they got over their homophobia because of my channel, I would cry happy tears. And I thought even if I was wrong and nothing was going on between them other than friendship, at least people would know that they knew each other, because that was the idea a lot of them had, that they didn't even know each other. And at the end of the day, shipping is part of the K-pop culture, which is why fan service exists between every single pair in K-pop ever. And it's actually flattering for people to think the bond you have between you and someone else is so strong and so precious that people would want to support you too and everything you do, and even your bond, whether it's romantic. Honestly, the only people that get offended by being suspected as being gay or bi or whatever are the people who see these sexualities as something dirty to be offended by. Because honestly, if you're not a homophobe, then why is it something to be offended by? It's something really normal. It's not anything insulting. It's like saying, "Hey, I think you like apples." Maybe you don't like apples, but you can always just clarify it, right? And it's nothing insulting. And with that, I decided to share my own experience and thoughts about Taeyang and Jungkook. But keep in mind that I joined as an army, not a shipper. So I still enjoyed everything as a normal fan as well. I started explaining everything I have noticed between them. It started by, hey, the reason they seem like strangers on cameras is because of all the editing cuts and tricks that I could personally see because I'm an editor. But I could also understand why some people would miss it, because it's not like they're editing videos one after another all the time. Then I went on explaining what a fan service is and how even though some of the moments that Taekook and every other pair do can be considered as fan service, it can't really be put in a fan service box because of all the cuts and how they're always separated and their genuine moments, and how most of the moments that we get are from Taekook themselves or from fan cams or happened out of their working hours. I mean, we know that they went on a lot of trips together, but other than like a couple of pictures that they showed us, we don't even know what happened, because it's not actually for the fans. That's why people call them private but not secret. Then I showed all the dangers that could threaten them by explaining the dispatch theory, their situations with fans, their countries, sasangs, the military service, the times other shippers would try to take things out of context for their own benefit, and everything else. I explained a lot of different theories, like their songs, the 1 2 3 theory, and every other theory that you've probably seen in my channel. I explained the times it seemed like they almost wanted to say it out loud, and they all ended up being at a time they didn't really know if they would even stay as a team or not. So they were freer to explain and talk about their relationship. Some people said, what if what I was doing would upset them? So I brought up the moments after moments where Taekook themselves kept looking emotional and happy and actually encouraged us, and were very happy about the support they were getting from shippers. I showed things that mostly could be seen in couples, like their secret language that they develop to communicate with each other, the way their eyes would sparkle, and the way they would always pay attention to each other no matter what they were doing, the lack of personal space and kisses and I love yous, and a lot of the things that even Korean people would be like, yeah, this is not normal in here. The times they would be flirting, even the moments that would get lost in translation. or the other moments where other people would react to them and show that they also knew what was going on between them. Even some jealousy moments, which actually ended up biting me in the butt, because some people thought by showing certain moments that seemed like jealousy moments, I was wishing harm on anyone else or I disliked anyone else. Well, I was just cracking jokes or just pointing out how those people were reacting in a certain way as couples. It didn't even mean that Taeyang or Jungkook would actually not like anyone they felt jealous over. It's just something couples feel like. So when people ask me why I became a taekooker or what was my favorite moment, I can't really answer that because it was a compilation of everything. That's why I just tell people to watch my videos to know, because it is all of them combined. Because they were the ones who stood out from the very beginning, not because of some fan servicey thing, because they were being caught and they just didn't seem to even know each other, because of their moments, because of their body language, because of the words they come up with just to describe each other. It's the kind of words that you don't use. What do you mean? I thought you were beyond my imagination, but then I thought about it again and you were way beyond my imagination. What do you mean his mole stimulates you? I mean, Jungkook asked that too. What do you mean? And why do you even pay attention to his moles? What do you mean you have matching moles? That means destiny. What do you mean? When you're both singers, saying that Jungkook has the best voice in Korea, encouraging him all the time, like, bruh, the way they talk about each other is out of this world. They are so couple coded that even people who are not even taekookers would suddenly and quickly come and be like, hey, 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 I know taekook breathed next to each other, but don't take this seriously. Well, you took it seriously by mentioning it. And the fact that their support for the LGBTQ plus community is so wide and so loud and is very consistent, to the point that it doesn't really seem to come just from a supporter. Another reason could be the fact that the differences of how they were behaving around each other was so obvious because of how often they had cameras shoved on their faces, that I could even tell around which time they probably could have started dating and when they had some of their hardships, when they even probably had small breakups or other separations. It was how a lot of my theories ended up being proven right over and over because of how clear the situations really were. It wasn't that I knew what was going to happen in the future. I'm not a fortune teller. And of course, I have been wrong as well. But more often than not, a lot of the things that I couldn't have known ended up coming true because I actually heard it from them, because I actually paid attention to their body language and what they were trying to say. It was a whole journey that continued until today. When I made my channel, I never planned to make videos forever. I always thought I would stop if I would get bored. I'm not saying I wanted to delete my channel. No, I just wanted to stop making videos. Many times the bullying got very bad. The accusations were just unfair. And I had no way of even defending myself because no one would even listen to me. And the people who would even believe me didn't want to associate with me because they didn't want to get bullied as well, which I could actually understand to some point. And the betrayals from friends that I thought were friends but actually weren't, because they only came to me because I was taekook-lives, and then when things got hard they just turned away. They were unbearable, and I admit at sometimes I really wanted to quit, until I thought how much harder it must have been for the boys, how much worse the hate must have been. If even someone as unimportant as me was getting this much hate. I mean, I'm not an idol. I'm just a fan. I'm just a normal person. So I just toned down my speculations on public and opened my membership part of my channel to talk about these serious things and these speculations with people who are actually mature. It's not like haters would pay me to hear my thoughts. And the people who would actually enter the membership would be mature enough to understand the difference between a proof and a theory. And if they really wanted to hear me talk about those serious things, they still would have a way to do it. I always said that if it was proven that they were always just friends and that they were happy being apart, I would accept it and it wouldn't really take away anything, because at the end of the day, I always said I support them and what they have, no matter what it is, even if it's platonic. And I would continue supporting them even if they didn't have what I thought they had. But despite the silly rumors, the haters, everything that happened in the past a few years, there were always reasons to still see what they had and believe in what they actually had. And most of those reasons came from taekook themselves, and a lot of them were actually so subtle that they couldn't even be fan service. The kind of reasons that even got them in so much trouble with their company and with everyone else. And that is why, to this day, I never lost my love and respect for them. To this day, I am still here and I am still making videos for you to show you my thoughts, especially at a time that they themselves can't really be here or even be together. Them being apart during this time is actually one of the biggest reasons my belief in them got even more serious and even more firm. Because knowing how seriously draining and dangerous the military is for the LGBTQ plus community makes me sigh in relief that they will be safe. It is so serious that if people get caught doing anything sexual or romantic, even just kissing at all, together in the same base during their duty times, they might actually go to jail for it. People have gone to jail for it because it will be counted as an assault, as a non-consensual assault, and their life can literally get ruined. A few years ago, the government actually signed a rule that said doing this sort of things in their off days away from the base would no longer be counted as non-consensual intercourse. And they can now do whatever they want in their off days because they're not even in the same base. If they would enlist together and end the enlistment, still there could be a lot of people who could fabricate things and put them in trouble and put them in danger. And this is not even a possibility anymore because they're not enlisting together. Let me just rephrase that actually. They are enlisting together, they're just not in the same base. A few years ago, I told you that we got a video of Taeyang saying that he wanted to enlist with Jungkook, and he did. He kept his promise and he kept his words, because at a time when he said that, the buddy system didn't even exist. What he meant was he was going to enlist at the same time as Jungkook, which he did. Following their journey for a very long time made me see how taekook are when they are apart. I've seen Taeyang come in live drunk just to listen to Jungkook's voice singing a love song that apparently he always sings for him. I've seen him mentioning him over and over and try to imitate him, to miss him less just because Jungkook was abroad. I've seen how Jungkook wouldn't stop texting and looking at his phone over and over until the point Taeyang would come back to them. And I've seen the way he excitedly kept trying to make them share a room together, even though beforehand he wanted to be alone in his room. I have seen how hard it is for them to be apart, so seeing them take that hardship and choose their safety over everything else to me, that is what love is about. The last things Taeyang posted before leaving for the military, their last hug, the way Taeyang actually looked back before walking away, it all just made my heart shake again to the point that I still want to support them as long as I can. So if you ever wondered why I made my channel, why I continue supporting them, and why I am still here to this day, welcome to my channel, because every single video shows you at least one of the reasons. My reasons are so many that they don't even fit in this one video, but I am fully aware that I am just a fan and I can be wrong, and I am easy to accept my mistakes. One mistake I accepted was when I came up with the 26th of January theory, and I said that it was taekook's anniversary. At the time I thought it was, and then I kept telling you that I was wrong over and over, and I told you no, actually it was January 23rd. That's the date I think is for them, but some of you are still celebrating it. Why? I have no idea. I already told you why I was wrong. Some of you don't even know most of the theories that you keep mentioning over and over from here and there came from my channel. But it doesn't matter. As long as they made you smile, as long as they made you enjoy, as long as they gave you a more positive view on Taekook and made you support them in any way, I don't care. It's worth it. I am happy. I don't know what will happen in the future. I don't want to make any promises that I can't keep. I can just have my assumptions about everything too. And one day maybe I do get mentally depressed to the point of giving up due to the severe bullying and how stressful being taekook-lives can be. But I can say that so far this journey has been incredible and it has been fulfilling. And most of it is because of you and how we've shared this journey together. If I ever did anything to hurt anyone, I'm sorry again. And you know that if I ever did cause any misunderstanding, I tried my best to make up for it and be more careful and respectful. So thank you for still being here and for allowing me to still share my ideas and opinions with you. I was planning to take a break after they would enlist, but I decided to stay and continue my support for them as long as I can, because to this day, Taekook never died for me. It still lives. Taekook lives.
그러고 보면 난 너를 만나 참 많이 변했어. 꿈이 생기고 네가 가진 꿈도 이뤄주고 싶었어. 네, 그러려면 이라고야 진짜 아니야. 아직 너를 이렇게 몰라. 너를 아직 사랑 나밖에 없는데 제발 나를